Ms. Leisure, are we ready?
Okay.
On, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the December meeting of your Lewisville Town Council. So nice to see you, those who are here in the chamber with us tonight, and welcome to you who are watching on TV6 or watching on our Facebook feed. It's always nice to know that folks are out there paying attention to the future of their town and the activities and actions of their town government. We'll start our meeting this evening with our traditional roll call.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ivan Huffman.
Good evening, Julie Puckett.
Melissa Hunt.
I'm Mike Horn.
Hi, I'm Ken Sadler.
Evening, Jane Welch.
Good evening, Monty Long.
Folks, we'll have our invocation now and the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation led by Councilmember Ken Sadler and Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem Melissa Hunt. If you'll stand and if you're able and join us.
Let us bow. In this season when we are thankful for the one who came to bring us joy and for whom we look to for guidance. With this prayer, I pray that the council would exercise its good judgment in all the things that we are tasked to do tonight, that we are blessed for receiving the support of the community and all that we try to do on its behalf, and that we send forth our blessings for those who are less fortunate than us at this time of the year. These and all good things we pray in thy name. Amen.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Manager, you have our consent agenda. I'm sorry, we better adopt our agenda before we do our consent agenda. Dora, I'm guessing there's been no changes since it was sent out? Very good. Council members, if there are no changes, additions, we'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Oh, excuse me, Mayor. Did you want to say hello to the staff?
I'll eventually say hello to the staff, but thank you for the reminder to do that.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Didn't
I'm
make
having
that.
too much Christmas cheer. think,
I
is
understand.
What's going on. Let me adopt the agenda, and then we'll do that. Ms. Puckett makes the motion, and Mr. Long makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. And thank you, Ms. Welch, for the reminder. We have our town manager, our town attorney, our sergeant of our community policing, our town public works director, our town planner, our town clerk, our town finance director, and back in the back, waving at us, is our town communication specialist. Thank you all for being here. All right, now the consent agenda.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On tonight's consent agenda, first is Resolution 2024-060, the financial statements for 4 months ended October 31st, 2024. Approval of agenda briefing minutes for November 7th, 2024. And lastly, approval of regular meeting minutes for November the 14th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, the consent agenda are items that routinely come before the council. We take them as a group unless any individual council member wants to pull one off and talk about it. Otherwise, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Huffman makes the motion. Ms. Puckett makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. All righty. PJ, your lone presentation this evening.
Oh, man. Hope everybody's having a good week. Our stats for November, 770 calls for service, 430 security checks, 34 traffic arrests and citations. The alarms were at 15, still right a 5-minute response time, compared to 801 this time last year, 498 for the security checks. 26 traffic violations this time last year, and the alarms were at 7, was still about the same call response. So getting closer to Christmas, everybody's out and about doing some shopping, so I just wanted to take just a second and remind everybody as you're parking at gas stations or businesses, make sure that you're taking time to lock these valuables in cars. Keep them out of plain view. If somebody is not enticed to break into your car to see what you have. But, obviously, if you leave something of value, the potential is there to entice somebody to break in. So lock your pocketbooks and anything valuable. Don't leave anything that can be visibly seen from the exterior of the car. Take your time and get those locked up as we enter into the getting closer to Christmas. But I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and I appreciate and all the support that you give myself and the other deputies throughout the year. It's an honor and a privilege to work with each and every one of you. We have a great staff, and so blessed for the relationship that we have with the town. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, PJ. Any questions? Very good. PJ, please pass on to your deputies. We had a record crowd at our parade, and I think with probably no exceptions, or maybe one or two exceptions, they did a fabulous job with crowd control and getting the cars in and out, and so please pass on our appreciation to them.
Sure will. Thank you.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have two public forums this evening, opportunities for you to share your thoughts with the council. One will be now and one will be at the end of our meeting. If there's anybody who's in the audience that wishes to speak tonight, come forward, state your name, your address, on any item or any topic you wish to address.
Steve Thompson, 737 Lewisville Clemens Road, Lewisville, North Carolina. I want to speak against the staggered terms. This town was basically founded 33 plus years ago. What has happened in the past, it's worked. I don't see, it's kind of like the old saying, if it's not broke, let's not fix it. But the government always says, well, it's not broke, but we're going to make it better. It's worked for 33 years. I think it can continue to work. If you need to get rid of the whole council, it happened one time before. And you say about the fact of people come in and not know what's going on, it's not rocket science. I no offense to anybody. I came on, but I was informed. I kept up with the meetings. I kept up with the minutes. I got on council, slid right into the seat, no problem. So I just hope that you leave it the way it is. If not, then if you vote for staggered terms, I want you to also think about term limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. All righty. Stacy, you have our first item of new business.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dora does.
What, Dora will take it? I can. Yes, sir.
I'll put on my glasses for the rest of the agenda. That'd probably be helpful.
Before council for your consideration is a resolution of intent to consider and to amend the town's charter. This is the first step for the council wishes to pursue staggered terms. The resolution outlines that a public hearing will be held on January 9th at 6 p.m. The public hearing is required to be held within 10 to 45 days from when the resolution of intent is adopted by council. The resolution also outlines how staggered terms would be implemented. At the 2025 municipal election, a voter referendum would be held on whether the charter should change from 2-year terms to staggered 4-year terms. If approved by the voters, implementation would be as follows. At the 2027 municipal election, the mayor and the 3 council seat candidates receiving the highest number of votes will serve 4-year terms. The 3 council seat candidates who receive the next highest votes will serve 2-year terms. At the regular municipal election to be held in 2029 and every 4 years thereafter, 3 council members will be elected to serve for 4-year terms. At the regular municipal election to be held in 2031 and every 4 years thereafter, the mayor and 3 council members shall be elected to serve for 4-year terms. If the voters do not approve staggered terms at the November 2025 election, the mayor and all 6 council members elected will continue to be elected to serve 2-year terms. The resolution also states that council will consider an ordinance to amend the charter at the February 3rd, February 13th meeting, and it will only be effective upon a voter referendum in November of 2025.
Very good. Any questions for Dora? Council members? Discussion? We'll entertain a motion, please.
Well, I do have a discussion. We had a fair amount of discussion, just for the knowledge of the public, during our briefing about this matter, not specifically about whether or not we would put this on the ballot for consideration. That already had been determined, but the one item that had not been resolved was whether the mayor would have a 4-year term along with the council that was elected in the fall of next year. And so that's something that needs to get resolved. It's stated in the resolution, but it's not yet been resolved because there's been no action or vote with regard to the term for the mayor. So, and in that discussion, what I mentioned at that time was I didn't really see any justification for having a 4-year term for the mayor. The justification for going to staggered terms as was presented originally was that it would provide for continuity in the council in the event that with the possibility that everybody could be removed, replaced if we continue with 2-year terms. As Mr. Thompson mentioned, it's happened once in 33 years. There's no evidence that it's likely to happen again. With partisan elections, it actually may be the case that, turnover would be very infrequent. And so for continuity's sake, I don't think there would be an issue with people coming onto the council every 2 years who had no knowledge of what was going on in the town. And as he mentioned also, it's an obligation, as I mentioned, of all of us. It's a responsibility of all of us who run for a council position to be fully aware of those responsibilities and then to take whatever time it is that we require to get up to speed and be knowledgeable. All of us were brand new at some point in time on this council. And so, this notion of, provides for continuity, have not agreed with it, still don't agree with it, but the council has voted, and so it'll be before the citizens to decide if it's the right thing to do in the fall of next year. So I just wanted to mention that because I think an action needs to be taken with regard to whether the mayor will have a 2-year or a 4-year term.
So, so the question before us then for conversation and discussion is the mayor's 4-year term or the 4-year term in general with council, mayor, or just that length of term? Is that the?
No, what had already been decided was that the citizens would have the opportunity to determine whether the council would have staggered terms. So that's already been decided.
Correct.
So that's really not up for debate.
Right.
It was resolved in 5-2, a vote of the council. So the only thing that has to be resolved is whether the mayor gets a 2-year term if we go to staggered terms, or whether that mayor then would get a 4-year term along with the council members who are elected. So that's really the only thing that we have to resolve, what the term of the mayor would be.
And possibly the term of the council members, because you can't have a situation where there's a 4-year term mayor and then 2-year terms for the council members.
Well, yeah, but we unless I am misremembering, the council made a determination that the council would serve for 4 years.
Okay, all right.
And what will happen initially is the clerk has mentioned is that, for a period of time, there will be people who will be serving for 2 years. And then thereafter, everybody will be serving for 4 years. We're going to have elections every 2 years like we do now, so there's not going to be any savings to the town in that regard. And now with partisan elections, you're going to have a primary that will potentially have during the primary, 14 people on the Democratic side, 14 people on the Republican side. There's a potential for people running unaffiliated, but there's a requirement for a petition to do that. So you could have whatever number of people you have that would be running for office at any given time during the primary season. And clearly, during the normal election cycle, you'll have as many as 14 people running for office, depending on how many people run on either side. There was no real discussion about, reducing the term for council people to 2 years. I don't know that, I wouldn't say that any of this is self-serving for anybody who sits on this council right now. I don't believe that's true. I think that everybody on this council is trying to do the right thing. But sometimes unintended consequences occur even when you have the best of intentions. But the only thing that we're to discuss tonight is whether or not the mayor gets 2 years or 4 years if the citizens determine that we're going to have staggered terms.
Thank you for that clarification.
Dory, help me real quick on this one. The way the ordinance is proposed right now, the mayor and 3 council members who receive, or actually the mayor theoretically would be the highest vote. Yeah, no, it won't be the highest vote getter. It'll be, now that we're going to be partisan, it will be whoever wins the mayorship will serve 4 years. And then the first cycle, the top 3 vote getters will serve 4 years.
Correct.
The next 2-year term, would that same rule not apply?
No, because you would not be, the mayor and those 3 council seats would not be up for re-election until 2031.
Right. And at that point, you would still have 3 council members that...
In 2029, the 3 council, so in 2027, the mayor and the 3 top vote getters of the council seats would receive 4-year terms. The next 3 council seat top vote getters would only serve 2-year term. And then in 2029, in 2029, those 3 would be up for re-election at the end of their 2-year term, and then whoever receives the votes would serve a 4-year term. That gets us on the staggered at that point. Unfortunately, the way it is, in order to get us on staggered, there's got to be a 2-year term there.
Right.
And the council can amend this resolution to say whatever you desire, that the mayor would serve a 2-year versus what it's saying right now, a 4-year.
So I want to be sure that we're all clear. After the recalibration occurs, then everybody would be serving 4-year terms.
Correct.
I'd like to speak,
Yes, ma'am.
please. Yes, I find that it is complicated as it is. I don't see a reason to change what we've had because it hasn't worked. And I've served 8 different times, and I did not find that it was impossible the first time, to follow what we needed to do. And I think the voters really are aware of who they're voting for, and there's enough trust in who they do vote for. I just don't see a problem, and I feel that it's complicated. So I would hope that the individuals do not vote for staggered terms.
Well, I think we'll have 11 months next year to make that case. Tonight's vote really is to make a determination on the mayor's term. Either it's a proposition for a 2-year term or a 4-year term.
But will they not also vote for staggered terms as
Right.
well as about, yeah.
Well,
it's
your vote
complicated.
would also be to approve Resolution 2024-061. And within that resolution, you need to determine if it remains the mayor doing 4-year staggered terms, or do you want it to be reworded to say that the mayor would only serve a 2-year term?
Yeah, Jan, that's kind of the question before us, because the council's already voted 5-2 to move to staggered terms. this is the resolution that we're voting on tonight that would enable that.
Yeah, it's
Council members,
tricky.
thoughts on mayor? I'll take a second to make a case, and I do support the staggered term concept, and I've been on the council. I think there are two of us that have been here enough that we've worn our posterior patterns in the chairs because we've been here that long. But I have served on councils where we have had a majority of new people and a majority turnover in the council, and I'll be quite honest with you, it's been very difficult. There is a learning curve, Ken. I know maybe not everybody is as quick on the uptake, but we do have a learning curve. I do believe that on occasion we will have, as we have had in the past, that we'll have individuals who are upset about one particular issue, and that's the issue that's going to drive their voting. And unfortunately, I wish sometimes that our greater populace would recognize that single issue voting is probably not the best way to elect your leaders, but that in fact does occur. I would suggest that the mayor should be a 4-year term because that does maintain a majority of experience on the council, so that you will always have somebody on the council who has served prior to that. And so you maintain that majority to be able to move the comprehensive plan and the council agenda, the town agenda forward. So that would be my argument for that.
I guess I would just say that I would support the staggered terms as well. I know that majority of municipalities out there have moved to that for the various reasons that have been stated. I also support the 4-year term for the mayor, the continuity, I just, everything that I've researched on it, and speaking not only as a council member, but a resident, that is what I would feel most secure with, is to have the staggered terms and a mayor that has a 4-year term. And I also, I guess I would encourage that people need to know who they're voting for, as you said, Mayor. It's important that when you're voting, that you're not just voting on issues, but that you know the content of the character of the person that you're voting for that's going to be in that office.
I would like to mention, too, one of the main reasons for my support of the 4-year term for mayor, and Mike can speak a lot more about this and what he does every day, but the mayor does a lot more than attend meetings and come and speak to the town the 2 times a month that we do. I mean, there's numerous committees, numerous area agencies that require not only a meeting with our town manager, but our mayor as well. And having a mayor, in my mind, that is serving for 2 years while the council is for 4 years just seems questionable. I think having the mayor with that longevity, understanding of the town's inner workings, and most of the time the mayor will run more than one term. I mean, it's I would say in numerous municipalities it's rare to have the mayor run for just one term. So yes, the mayor could have a 2-year term and be reelected every time, like Mayor Horn has been here in the past few terms. But I think the importance, if the rest of the council is quote-unquote surpassing him in the amount of time that they're serving, I think it does a great disservice to the town and to the mayor's position. So, I mean, sure, there's flaws on both sides of this. That's why it's very encouraged to be a referendum for the voters. But if we're going to put a referendum to the voters to them, I would hope that we do that with some understanding of what the mayor's position needs.
And I don't want to minimize in any way what the mayor does. I mean, this mayor is very active and has been a great spokesman for the town. It's not about that. It's about the next mayor. I mean, you know, you don't know who that's going to be. You don't know how those persons are going to behave in office. And my contention is that given now we're going to have partisan elections, the whole thing could turn over next time. You don't know who's going to be sitting in these seats next November. You know, we can't go into this with the assumption that things are going to be the way that they've always been, because they're, in terms of how the council behaves and acts and so forth, that's not going to be the case, or could not be the case after next November. In reaction to the notion that the majority of towns have staggered terms, and Ms. Hunt can correct me, but my recollection is that about 80% or 60% or of the towns, and I'll let you tell me what the right number is, of the 500 or so have staggered terms. Is it 60 or is it 80 or what is that?
73. I think
so
at one moment,
I was going to say it's in between the two,
yeah,
yeah.
it's around 73%, and that was according to the latest documentation that
Right.
it was like from 2012, I believe. So it may be even dated that the School of Government had placed.
And is
had
that
put out.
500 towns or
Yes, sir.
is that the term? Okay, so just quick math for me, I'll just say about 3/4 have 73%, 3/4 have what you're proposing, and 1/4 does not. And it just in raw numbers, if we had 800, that would mean 200 towns. So, there's about 125 towns that have 2-year terms for their councils and their mayor, right? I mean, that's,
yeah.
I mean, it's,
Some of those towns have 4-year terms.
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
wait. Then what I've understood you to
You got the
say
numbers?
was that 73% of the towns have staggered terms.
Right, but that
How do you
doesn't,
have a staggered term with a 2-year term?
they have a staggered, the council members can be a 2-year term, or the mayor position can be a 2-year, but they still stagger it.
So either okay, but everybody got a 2-year term.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's, yeah, well.
Yeah, and so just in Forsyth County alone, there's out of the 9 municipalities that are currently existing, and the way that their governance is that 5 of those 9 have a 4-year term mayor,
Right,
and then 4 of them have a 2-year term mayor.
right.
Now, sometimes that term is the same with what the council
Right.
does, and then other times it's not, but, yeah.
So basically, 50% of the towns, municipalities in Forsyth County are one way or the other. 5 and 4.
Yeah, it's 5 that are 4-year term
Right.
mayors or
Right.
4-year terms.
You're right. I mean, it's almost half and half.
Correct.
And could not you, I'm not directing this at you personally, but I'm wondering if anyone could demonstrate how those 5 towns function better than Lewisville does, who have 4-year terms.
Well, it would take a bit of research. And ultimately, I mean, my thought is that ultimately we're having the referendum because ultimately the residents are going to decide this.
Yeah, but the council made a decision to go in that direction without ever inquiring of the residents what they thought about it in the first place.
Well, I'd like to make another comment. Number one, I think 4 years is just too many. It's not necessary. I think it's important to run again more often, because I think you work harder for that. You don't take it for granted after 1 year and then you've got 3 years. I just think you work harder. Also, what runs the town every day is our staff. We have an excellent staff, and that would not just change because of a one issue. So that's another reason I like to leave things as they are.
May I speak for a minute?
Sir.
Here's my concern. With partisan elections, let's say one side all gets in, okay? And they make a change, all right? And we're doing 2-year terms still. And all of a sudden, we have another instance, like Mike spoke about, or Dr. Seiler spoke about back in the early 2000s, where you had, they came in and made some wild changes to the tax rate. Now, granted, they all got voted out the next, election. But I'm looking at it going, if there had been staggered terms, there could have been a vote that might have kept that from happening. My other fear is the other side gets in and they go, hey, we don't like town staff, it's way overstaffed, we're cutting back, we're cutting this, we're doing this. And I'm just going to say this, I think it would be smart to have 2-year on mayor terms. Because of the fact that if you wind up going 4 and you get a majority in there that winds up doing stuff that you can't control, you're going to have 4 years of it. Okay? You have 2-year mayor term in there, and you do a good job, and there's coherence between everyone, then things are going to run smoothly. My fear is now with partisan races, there's going to be a lot of people out there that don't necessarily come and vote by researching the candidate like they have in the past. They're going to come and they're going to vote party line, and they're going to go, hey, this is how I've always voted, this is how I'm going to do it. And if you do that, you know, our township, I don't know what the registered voters are here, but you know, you could wind up having one way or the other, either party, and then all of a sudden you've got a real situation on your hands. So I'm for, I mean, we could do 4-year on the mayor, but I feel 2-year would be a smarter move in case we get a situation like that. So.
You know, and let me, again, this is a debate we're going to have and probably continue to have over the next few months. Lewisville has kind of always been the kind of town that we haven't looked at other people and say, how many people do this? Well, that's why we're going to do it that way. Or how many people don't do that? That's how we're going to do it that way. We've always kind of tried to evaluate what's going to be best for our town and our residents. And so I just caution us when we start looking at percentages of other towns and the way they do things. While there's a map there for us to look at and we can understand why they try to do it, I think we have to make the determination of what's best for our town. I will state this, and I'm sure there are folks that would take exception to it, but we're going to undergo a giant upheaval this next election. I'm not a fan of partisan politics. I never have been a fan of partisan politics. If you're unaffiliated, you will not get elected in Lewisville. I'm sorry. If you're a Democrat, you probably will not get elected in Lewisville. I'm sorry. That's not a knock against Republicans. I think we have a number of Republicans who've sat on our councils before and have done fabulous jobs. Mm-hmm. But I also believe different points of view are important. And I also believe town government without partisan politics or directed by a county party is the way government should be. Mm-hmm. But I'll get off that and let me move back to the question of 2-year or 4-year for the mayor. Does anybody want to advance a motion on that?
My motion would be that the mayor, if the citizens pass the referendum to have staggered terms, that the mayor serve for a 2-year term versus 4 years.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can I clarify, Mayor? So we have before us Resolution 2024-061, and I think the effect of Dr. Sadler's motion is that he's essentially moving to pass this resolution amended such that the language specifying that the mayor would have a 4-year term would be altered to say that the mayor has a 2-year term, or really we just leave it as is for the mayor. I was just trying to confirm if that was the intent, so we don't have to have a vote on that sub-issue and then come back to voting on passing this resolution.
That is correct. That's accurate.
So I've got it down that, and you can correct me, Dr. Sadler. So you want your motion to be to amend Resolution 2024-061 to show the mayor serving a 2-year term versus a 4-year staggered term, and the rest of the council with the 4-year staggered terms.
Correct.
And Jane, you are seconding that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to say something real quick, Mayor. This is my first year on council, and that can be easily seen. I know this topic of staggered terms has come up repeatedly in the town's past 33 years of existence, but it's never gone to a vote for the voters. My push for this has really not been 4-year staggered term, 2-year the way it is. My push is, if it's been such a deliberative issue for this council in the past, it needs to go before the voters. So I just want to look at the town, anybody that's watching tonight, to see that this is not, this is really the council's way of asking for your direction as a residents to understand what it is you would like going forward. I just want to make that position known. This isn't some new guy off the block coming to just change everything, but to see what the town residents truly want.
Thank you for that context.
I have to kind of disagree with you there. It doesn't come up all the time. It just seems like fairly often in recent times it comes up, and it's just brought back when it hasn't been discussed or really felt pushed. So I don't know, why now.
Call a question, Mayor.
Questions have been called. Dora, will you repeat the motion, please, one more time? I believe the motion. I'll just paraphrase it. It's to adopt the motion with the change of mayor 2-year terms instead of 4-year terms, and to adopt the motion as presented, or adopt the ordinance as presented.
To amend, yes, to amend Resolution 2024-061. Yes, sir.
Very good. That's the motion. We have a second. We have discussion. We have the question called. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. That's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. All righty. Stacy, fee schedules.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. So tonight before you is ordinance 2024-039. Staff is recommending changes to the 2024-2025 adopted fee schedule. Included in these, there's 3 important changes that we are proposing. The first one is implementation of instructor fees for facility usage of town facilities. This would come into play, there would be a $10 per class fee to instructors, only for those instructors who actually charge their participants for the classes that they teach at any of our facilities. So we would be asking for that fee, and it would be effective January 1 of 2025 to give us time to meet with instructors, let them know how everything is going, the will of the council and everything like that. Secondly, we are asking to update the language to remain consistent with the language in the Unified Development Ordinance. You'll see in there, for example, some changes are conditional district, where they used to be referred to as a special use district. This is also to remain compliant with General Statute 160D. So it's, again, just for consistency with the language of what that actual fee is for. The fees, in fact, for that is not changing. And then lastly, is implementation of fees associated with the Zoning Board of Adjustment, including fees for applications when they're accepted, variance applications, appeals, and those sorts of things, anything that would go before the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I will add these fees must be listed in our approved fee schedule in order for the town to be able to charge for those services.
Any questions for Stacy? If not, entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Huffman makes a motion, Ms. Puckett makes a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Dora. I'm sorry, Stacy, you have the second one,
Yes, sir.
which is we're going to assume some new responsibilities.
Right. So, in a good segue from those Zoning Board of Adjustment fees, we currently have an interlocal agreement with the City of Winston-Salem. Their offices perform the Zoning Board of Adjustment staff, those planning functions for the town, among some other services. But town now has capacity to take these functions in-house in order to better serve our residents. Currently, residents have to go downtown to apply for those special use permits, appeals, variances, those types of things. So when our planning staff is able to take that in-house and we assume that role, a resident would no longer need to go downtown. They can just simply come to town hall and speak directly with town staff instead of a City of Winston-Salem staff member. In order for this change to take place, the interlocal agreement does have to be amended. We have been in conversation with the city, and then once this resolution is adopted by Town Council, it will then go to the City of Winston-Salem for their process of approval. So before you again, Resolution 2024-063. I would mention there are some slight changes that were made per Elliot's direction to this resolution since you had it before you at the briefing. Those changes do include authorizing the mayor to enter into the amended agreement acceptable to the town attorney. That's just so in the event that the city might have a word change here or there. But then also we have listed the agreement amendments are reflected in the resolution, whereas they were not previously. So does anybody have any questions or anything about that?
Any questions? Entertain a motion, please.
Move approval.
Second.
Dr. Sadler makes the motion. Ms. Puckett makes a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Dora, fee exemptions.
Yes, sir. Resolution 2024-064 is for a facility fee reduction for the Forsyth County Fire Historical Society, Inc. They have requested a one-time exemption for their annual banquet and fundraiser to be held October 4th, 2025 at the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. At the agenda briefing last week, Council recommended a one-time fee reduction of half price for this event. The resolution before the Council reflects such.
Any questions for Dora?
Move for approval?
Second.
Ms. Welch makes the motion. Mr. Long makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
We are 6-1 with Mr. Huffman in opposition. Very good. Moving along. Stacy, you have our next item.
Yes. Provided for you tonight in your packet is Chapter 16, Article 2 of the Lewisville Town Code. This chapter refers to policies of our town facilities. So we are proposing new language to each section of the chapter to create a policy for rentals that would be interrupted by inclement weather. It gives us an opportunity to be consistent. It gives direction for staff in the event that there is, we do come up against something like that where a reservation is interrupted. So staff has updated the language we spoke about at council briefing per council's wishes. The new language is as follows. If a reservation is interrupted by inclement weather, the renter may choose to receive a full refund or request a reservation voucher. A refund or reservation voucher must be requested within 5 business days of the original rental date, and vouchers are to be used within 1 year of the original rental date. The voucher is only applicable to a rental of similar nature, including facilities or rooms to be rented, numbers of hours of original rental, number of attendees, etc. Inclement weather days will be confirmed by the National Weather Service declaring an emergency or severe warning, or by the town manager or his or her designee. So staff tonight is seeking approval of Ordinance 2024-040 to amend Chapter 16 of the Lewisville Town Code.
Any questions for Stacy? Council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Huffman makes a motion. Ms. Puckett makes a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Stacy, admin reports, please.
This is always the part of the agenda that I like the most. So upcoming events and everything that's happening around Lewisville. I know that we've had a busy holiday season already, but that will continue this weekend. The annual holiday movie night will be held at Mary Alice Warren Community Center, featuring How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And we've had a lot of questions, which Grinch is this? It's the Jim Carrey Grinch. So we're excited to be able to host that Friday, December the 13th at 6 p.m. That's tomorrow night. I will add that even though the event is free and refreshments will be served, the space is limited. So we ask that participants do go onto our website and register for that event. Because it is indoors, and so space would be limited. We do still have plenty of room, I do believe, so hopefully everybody can come out for that. And any interested volunteers, on Saturday, our Public Works Department is going to host a tree planting day. at Jack Warren Park. That's Saturday, December the 14th from 9 a.m. until noon. So anybody that would like to come help plant some trees at our park, you're more than welcome. Also, Christmas.
Interrupt you for a second.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't involve digging holes, all right?
It does not. It does not. Our Public Works Department has been forward thinking on that and gotten those holes dug. So just to come help plant those trees. Thank you, Dr. Sadler. Next, Christmas cardboard recycling is available from December 20th to January 3rd. That bin will be located in the Lewisville Elementary School parking lot. So thank you to the Lewisville Elementary School for allowing us to use that location while students are on break every year. And then lastly, town offices will be closed December 24th through 26th and January 1st for the holiday season.
Very good. Any questions for Stacy?
Have we made a determination on the e-cycling event yet?
We do have a date for that.
Yes, sir. That is January 18th, I believe. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that will be advertised in our newsletter, website, and then also we'll be sure to make comments about that at the January meeting.
It's actually January 13th.
13.
January 3rd.
All right. Look like threes.
Yeah, January 13th. for
Wait
recycling.
just a second. Pam looked at the wrong calendar. It is the 18th.
It's correct in our newsletter for January the 18th.
Thank you.
John, what kind of trees are we planting?
What kind of trees? Well, we have 88, and there are probably 15 to 18 different varieties.
Different varieties.
Mostly, this would be kind of the beginning of establishing shade in the new area of the park. We're filling in some in the woods and around the nature trail, but a lot of this is establishing shade in those open areas around the new pavilion and that.
Very good. So, folks, if you have a youngster, and most of us won't, probably, or some of us won't live long enough to see these trees reach maturity, but if you have a youngster that you want to bring out and have them take part in a tree planting, they can, through their lifetime, can watch their tree grow and see how it greatly enhances our park. So I encourage everyone to do that. All righty. This is the second opportunity. This is the second opportunity in our public forum for anybody who wishes to come forward and address the council on any issue that's near and dear to your heart. I see no one moving. I do see people breathing, but no one moving, so we'll move on to the next item. Council members?
Yes, Mayor,
Yes,
please. I would like to wish each council member, our staff, and certainly our Lewisville residents a very Merry Christmas. May you have a blessed Christmas and a new year that's full of great days and health, and may you count all your blessings. Thank you.
Very good, and I'll exercise the prerogative of two-year mayor, which is, I always get the last word somehow in these kind of discussions, but I do want to reflect just briefly on the holiday open house that we had. It was wonderful at Mary Alice Warren Community Center. A lot of you folks came out that we haven't seen regularly, so it was always good to share some libations with you and some hors d'oeuvres with you. Staff, you did a great job on putting that on. It was wonderful. We had a great turnout. I was really pleased. Second, our tree lighting. Oh my gosh, it was off the charts. It was 32 degrees, and everybody turned out. We had Santa arrived. We hung the Star of Peace. Everybody was in good spirits. But it was a beautiful night if everybody was bundled up. So again, thanks our staff for helping to pull that one off. Finally, oh my gosh, the parade. I mentioned it earlier with PJ. If you could drive it, pull it, haul it, push it, you could be in it. We had 85 vehicles or other sorts of things in our parade. I think it was the largest ever. We had several thousand, I would say 5,000 or 6,000 people that lined Shaliford Square. If you have stock in Mars or Hershey's or whatever, I think you're going to see that return in their next quarterly report. But thanks again to all who made that happen. Finally, kind of thanks to we're at the end of the year, and I want to thank truly our boards and committees for all they do for the town. They work behind the scenes. They don't get a lot of publicity. They don't get a lot of exposure. But the work they do is so important in advising the town, keeping a lot of our important projects moving forward. So I know I express the council's appreciation to all of you who serve on our boards and committees. Thank you for a great year, and we look forward to your continued participation next year. Finally, Jane, I will echo your sentiments on behalf of the council and the staff and all of us in Lewisville. We wish you the most wonderful holiday season and a very healthy and let's hope kinder new year. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Ms. Puckett makes the motion, Mr. Long makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us in the chambers. Thank you for being with us at home. And this meeting is adjourned. Good night.